Right now, the United States and Iran are operating under a ceasefire. Washington is signaling that the war is winding down and commercial traffic is returning to normal routes. But the security of the troops at the U.S. naval support activity in Bahrain suggests a different reality. Service members there are receiving menacing WhatsApp texts, warning that their identities are known and that drone strikes are imminent. This psychological pressure is accompanied by physical strikes. The United Arab Emirates' critical Fujairah port has become a primary target for Iranian-linked munitions. In the Strait of Hormuz, the USS Truxtun and other naval assets are actively engaged by drones and fast attack craft. Despite these coordinated attacks, the official stance from the Pentagon remains that the ceasefire holds. These events represent a calculated shadow campaign. Radical Iranian hardliners are using asymmetric violence to sabotage the peace deal, while avoiding the legal triggers of a full-scale war. The driver of this campaign is a power struggle in Tehran. President Masoud Pezeshkian is pushing for a diplomatic deal to rescue the domestic economy from total collapse. His primary opponent is IRGC commander Ahmad Vahidi. Vahidi's faction views any diplomatic concession as a threat to their control over the nation's nuclear infrastructure. Vahidi has utilized a closed military council to hijack the nation's foreign policy, effectively isolating the president from Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei. Outside groups, like the MEK, often claim to be the primary threat to the regime, but the actual danger to the peace process originates from within the Iranian government. Vahidi's IRGC is executing a precise playbook designed to force a U.S. response and derail the president's diplomatic efforts. This strategy begins with psychological cyber warfare, conducted by a hacking group known as Handala. Handala now bypasses military firewalls to target individual devices. They scrape personal data to send specific assassination threats directly to the private smartphones of deployed U.S. soldiers. This psychological pressure is paired with diplomatic isolation, specifically targeting the United Arab Emirates through kinetic strikes. The geography of these strikes is deliberate. Following Project Freedom to secure the Strait of Hormuz, the IRGC attacked the UAE port, bypassing it. This expands the regional threat, forcing Gulf partners to weigh maritime cooperation against Iranian retaliation. These moves create a dilemma for Washington. If the U.S. ignores the strikes, it appears weak. If it retaliates, it risks destroying the ceasefire the president is trying to save. Beyond kinetic strikes, Iran is weaponizing bureaucracy. The regime has implemented a new mechanism governing the Strait of Hormuz, forcing international commercial ships to submit detailed ownership forms and wait for digital transit permits. These administrative requirements function as a legal trap. Every ship that complies implicitly acknowledges Iranian sovereignty over an international waterway. This creates a long-term economic chokehold. The bureaucratic precedent for controlling global shipping will remain in effect regardless of any temporary diplomatic ceasefire. The U.S. response seeks to neutralize these assets without triggering a broader war. CENTCOM has executed targeted strikes against the specific launch sites used for these drones and missiles. To maintain the ceasefire, the administration frames these strikes strictly as defensive threat elimination rather than a resumption of active combat. Parallel to these military actions, a financial counteroffensive is targeting the IRGC's funding. This flowchart tracks the flow of illicit oil from Iraq. The U.S. Treasury is sanctioning the smugglings who blend and sell this crude to provide the IRGC hardliners with their operational budget. The strategy relies on degrading the saboteurs' capacity and funding, while refusing to take the bait to abandon the peace negotiations. Despite these efforts, the core demands of a final agreement remain irreconcilable. This satellite imagery of the Natanz enrichment complex shows the scale of the facilities the U.S. insists must be dismantled. Relinquishing these nuclear sites and giving up control of the Strait of Hormuz are red lines for the IRGC. They view these as the pillars of their survival. Because President Pezeshkian cannot bypass the military council, the diplomatic track has stalled. A peace agreement reached at a summit is meaningless as long as the IRGC maintains the power to wage a shadow war on the ground.